Welcome back. This is Nerd Dad on episode 31 of our Factorio playthrough. Last time we left off, we'd done some rocket launches, and as you can see up in the top left, we've now got 4 satellites out there, but that is not great, to be honest, because when we look at our statistics, we're actually not doing all that well. What's going on right now is if I look over 10 hours and we take a look, we can see that we've been doing 0.7 basically of these, and they're just it's kind of a slow process. Even when we look at the hourly, we're only getting out 1.7k per we did 104 in the last hour, so we're basically launching a rocket in just around the hour mark, and so it's not great. I'd been hoping we were going to be around 40 minutes, and to be honest, that number is kind of skewed right now because you can see up in the top right here, I'm not even learning any tech. As soon as I started learning tech, things started to fall apart a little bit. So we got ourselves to a rocket, but now we need to improve so that we can start getting more rockets launched. So we've done a few things to try to fix that up. You can see right now, I could fix this up a little bit. What's happening right now is the components is what's holding us up. And you can see I've doubled up on the fuel, and I actually didn't have to worry about these electrical pieces, but what we're doing is it's these, I can't remember what they're called. I always struggle with this piece. I don't know why. The low density structure, I don't know why I always call them components. Low density structure is taking quite a bit, and we could double this up, and we've pretty well got the throughput. But what happened was, as soon as I started doing some tech and things, things fell apart, and I found out that my steel was not doing very well. Now, I fixed up a lot of that. It's doing a lot better than it was, and the reason why it was doing so poorly is our steel, in fact, these guys right here don't have any output, so I better fix that. So I actually came up here, and we had stone furnaces mixed with the iron furnaces, and you can see I've actually got a few places here where I haven't quite finished it off yet. So we're just going to come up and finish that off in a couple of seconds, but I wanted to kind of take you through how we got to this point and what our plan is for this, because this is just a temporary measure at this point. So if you recall, when we started this whole map, we had started with our iron ore processing here, and we doubled it up a fair size, and we could still improve this, but so far iron plate hasn't really been a big issue for us. It's going to become a bit of an issue, and not for the reason of processing. It's going to be about the iron ore itself, and we'll talk about that in a second. We built this train yard here to take care of that. And what you'll see is I've cleaned up these iron ore fields, this field and this field here. They're becoming very sporadic. In fact, you can see a lot of them are they're empty right now. So I need to take more of these miners out, and I've already cleared some of the zones out. I also moved the stone train. The stone train was down at the bottom. It was down in our south quite a ways. It was way down here, but we've actually bled out this stone field here, and I just haven't cleaned it up yet. But what we've done is we had sort of this mixed field, so we actually have a splitter with a filter on it, just sending the stone one way and the iron another. This is where these new in 1.6, where you can really use these splitters to do sorting features for you, and it's just fantastic. I didn't even have to worry about it. Just drop one splitter down, mine everything off, and just keep it going. The only time this becomes a problem is if this gets backlogged, or if this gets backlogged, then you don't get the other product. So that's the only time you got to worry about it, is if you get a bit of a backlog. But as long as it's flowing, everything's wonderful. Anyways, so I realized I was going to run into a bit of an iron ore issue, so I wanted to deal with that. But the other problem I had was when I was trying to do the rockets and doing tech, copper was running really low. In fact, iron ore was running low as well, but copper was the next one that was sort of very sporadic. Like with these 3 lines, I had just a few things drizzling in. I'm getting ready to turn all this back on, get the tech up and running, but I want to show you where we've gone. So what I did was I decided to start with copper, and I've built this new processing facility in here, and this has 200 new furnaces online. It is a independent logistical network. So what you'll see is I have this nice little green line going around the outside edge. So the robots inside of this little thing that I'm drawing around with the arrow here, this is one little logistical network, and it's going to allow me to offload the furnaces onto a train for pickup. This one down here is a logistical network just for offloading trains, and I don't want to ever have those hooked up to my other component, because then what happens is your logistical robots take off to do a task for you way over here. You bring a train in and they're waiting for all the bots to come back. This way they're centralized around what you want them to do. You can see there's 2 trains waiting to go. One is full, one is empty. This one's never done a run. This one has just gone down to a new mine, and I'll show you that in a second. And so though we did that with copper, what we wanted to do is the same thing for iron. So you can see I have almost a replicated. It's actually almost an identical. It's for iron ore. It looks exactly the same, but I flipped around the offload. So the offload on this side is over here. The one thing I haven't done for the offload yet, because I just haven't got that far, is I haven't built the secondary tracks. So you can see on this one over here for the copper, there's these extra waiting tracks. I'm going to be doing that on the iron, but I just haven't done it yet. So that's going to be something I'm going to work on as well. And what we want to do is we're actually going to do the same thing with steel, and we're going to build it way up here in the north. And the reason why I don't want to just build steel here, where it would be really easy for me just to ship over the iron ore, well, that would be handy, is that I also have both of these major ore processing feeding my main bus. So what I've got is I've actually got some logic buried in here, and the way it works is this. Each of these little logistical boxes, if we click on it, oops, I'm on map mode so I can't, I'll just have to explain it, otherwise I have to run all over the map. What this does is this basically waits until there's 1,000 in each of these boxes, and once we hit that, it hits 3,000, it'll start letting ore go by. And that's across the board here, so it's 3,000 for this one, 6,000 for this, because I've got twice as many, etc., etc. They then feed up, and for copper, what I have it doing is one goes to the front of the bus, this right line goes to the front, this left line goes into the middle of the bus. So what we can do is we can see where I join up about here. This is where we're going to join into the main bus. This will all be feeding the main bus. And when this line backlogs, and what I want to actually do is put some logic right about here, and I'm going to feed a logistical line down, is that when this gets backlogged about here, I'm going to shut the line off this way, and I'm going to route all the iron ore the other way. And what that does for me is allows me to bring copper into the middle here, so that if we expand any of our green circuits or anything else that we're pulling off here, we're keeping this bus full again right here. And you can see these 2 lines on the left are actually going into the copper line. These 2 on the right are actually how I'm feeding the iron ore. Now, I didn't feed the iron ore back into the front of the bus because I have this processor, which is so much bigger than my copper one. It's got a little bit extra on it, and actually I'm not sure about this one. I might actually be pulling some of this out of here. I'm not too sure yet. So I just felt like I was okay with what I had here for iron ore processing. I could even expand this a little bit. I got a little bit of extra space here I can use. I can bump this out. Copper was feeling a little bit tight, and I think what I'm going to end up doing is you can also see that on each of these 2 processing areas down here, I have a room to double down. So while these have 200 furnaces, I expect I can get into about 800 and maybe even squeak out 200, I can get to 400, not 800. I get to 200, I get to 400 each, which would be 800. Which I might be able to get 500 furnaces in for each side. So that's going to be a pretty good ability. And you can see we've got the ability to stack up quite a few trains. I think at last count I could stack up to 10 trains in here, so that's pretty good. So I want to have sort of the equivalent for pickup. And we're going to get into why I want all this. The other thing I did was I built a bit of a, where is he? Where did I hide it? Military. We've actually built up our artillery train. And I've lost it again. Copper. Somebody find it. There we go. Right in here, we got a artillery train. So if you remember before, we just had artillery offloading to this car. Well, now we actually have an artillery train that will load up. And eventually we're going to automate this artillery train to do a bit of a perimeter watch for us. But we've been just driving it down. And, well, it doesn't look too good right now because they've started working their way back in. We had actually come down here with the train and blasted this out. And our wall used to be right about here. Right about around here somewhere. And, well, I've been off the end. So we've actually pushed out and we've taken over this 4 million iron ore here. We already had this copper here, and we've actually set up a processing here. So this is what's going to happen is we're going to kick these 2 trains up. These 2 trains are going to go to that copper mine that we just showed, and these 2 iron ore are going to go down to that iron ore, and I probably want to add a couple more to each of these, but I haven't done so yet. So we're just going to flick automatic on this guy. He should take off, and this guy should unload. We'll do him in a second. I want to see him unload just to see how everything's working. So we're just going to kick this guy up to automated. This guy's automated. And the other thing I've done is I've actually I haven't done it on this end here, but starting about here, I've actually started setting up signals all the way so my track is in better chunks. It's I've got a lot better sort of you can see all these little chunks to the rail. So when the trains are going in these straight lines, they're not having to wait till the train gets to the end. It can actually follow right behind. So that should work as well for us. So what I wanted to do is I want to just come in here and I want to watch this train unload. And we're going to send him to S1, which is this. If he gets a green signal, which he will, so he'll get a quick little blast and then he'll move ahead. And there you see the bots coming out to offload him. And they're going to take it to all these requester chests here. And you can see very quickly we're starting to offload these trains using bots. And we're already kicking out copper plate. And what's going to happen here is these guys are going to get down to the end once we get the copper plate to the end. And they should all bulk up here, and these bots should run it all over to here until I think it's about 1,000 per requester box over here. Yeah, I see 1,000 on the filters. So we should have quite a bit of copper plate sitting over here by the time we're done. And I'm probably going to need some more logistical robots in here just because this travel distance is quite large. Usually I don't like my distance going that far because what you'll find is you get bots doing little loopbacks and things. I probably should put a few extra roboports in here, but kind of got a little bit stuck with trying to get this as big as I did, and I had some restrictions with the trains as well because I didn't want to shut this copper processing down right now. So that's working really well. I'm happy with how that's coming along. They seem to be doing okay. That train is still unloading. The thing that would make this faster, of course, if I had green green inserters going here. I can't remember what it's called. They're the stack inserters. If I had a bunch of stack inserters, it would go much faster. And I'm okay with it the way it is right now. We may need to work on the speed. I mean, we haven't even got to blue transport belts and all those things we could do to speed this up. Right now, I'm happy with the way it's going. All these furnaces are full. That's exactly what I wanted. I definitely could have made these longer. I could have taken them up. If I had the space, I could have gone up to about, I think it's like 38 or something like that. I'm okay with these being backlogged. I'm not too worried about that. And I'll kind of offset that by doing like doubling down and having like 400 copper here. The other thing I'm also going to do is this is one of several of these copper processing units I plan on building. So this is just a start and we will get more up and running. Okay, so I just wanted to jump a train here if we can. And where am I? Let's get the map mode off. I just want to jump on this train here real quick. And the reason why I want to jump on this train is if we follow our map, I had noticed when I was over here that I got a couple of units here that aren't working right now. So I want to come and fix that up, just drop a roboport so they can be reached. And I noticed this doesn't have any power, so I want to come down and fix that up as well. I wouldn't mind dropping a radar dish up in the top there and dropping a radar dish along here as well, so that would help us. In fact, there's another little space there I could do. So I'd like to get a little bit more radar going on. And I think what we'll do is we'll kick up our tech now because we will start to see. It's going to take a little bit for these to go. Like you can see right now, not a single chunk of ore is making it off the end of here because we just haven't got a backlog. We've got to actually fill up all these, and then we've got to fill up all these before we're actually going to start feeding the main line. And that's by design. I didn't want to be pulling off of here yet. I want my main line to maintain itself for right now. So we've got that going. It's working really good. Everything seems to be going well, but I would like to start working on the tech. I want to see if we're bleeding this off as badly as it is, and once we start feeding ore, I want to see if it's going to help fix the problem. So what I've been doing is I'm slowly catching up on all my research, except for anything that has a white science pack or a space or whatever it's called. And what I want to do is I want to start maybe doing this. So I've been slowly bringing them all up equally. I've just been trying to get up to like everything's at 6 or 7 right now. So I want to get this one caught up. We'll do research on there. I've just been bringing them up. I haven't really been paying attention to what they are. Just smacking them all. Oh, we're on the train. That's good news. It's empty. Perfect. And we should just about be there. Guy full waiting. That's exactly what we want to see. A train leaving just as we pull in. Perfect. So we'll get off of here and we'll just fix up a couple of things really quickly. I've got a power pole. Is that a power pole in your pocket? Why, yes it is. And we'll come up here. We got a radar dish for there. I just wanted to drop one up in this corner. And then we will just drop another roboport right in around about here just to get us, you can see our orange line over there, just to give us some overlap, but keep it close to the trains where it's needed. So there we go. He needs a little bit of power, so we'll give him that. And I'm not going to catch this train back. I probably should have brought a car with me. It would have been a smart play, but that would have been smart. And who said I'm smart? We got this oil still working really well. Yeah, it's pretty well drying out. I want to check this on the map. Let's just see how we're doing for oil here. 501. So we need to find some more oil by the looks of it. We're probably getting to that point where we're going to start searching for some oil. So that's good to know. Hadn't really been worrying about the oil because I've been maintaining my plastic with that extra plastic zone. So we're getting there on that. I wanted to get a radar dish right in about here somewhere. So we're just going to drop one in here. I can just drop it on the end of here. That wasn't right where I wanted it, but close enough. How's our power doing? Whoa, we're actually running a power deficiency. Well, that's good news. I was kind of wondering. I noticed when I was playing a little while ago that maybe my power was getting a bit backlogged because of this. It's another problem I've noticed I got to fix. You can see that we've backlogged again because I just have no storage facilities available. So I actually need to bump up my storage for this. We need to go up there and build a quick little storage unit. So I think we're going to do that right now. I think we'll just run up there. I really should have brought a car. Hey dude, where's my car? How far do we have to run to get there? That is a long jog. Do I have a train in my pocket? Can I build a train? Perfect. That's sometimes the fastest way is to build the train and just grab the train track. And hopefully nothing crashes into me when I drop it. Come on. We'll get that built and then we'll just run up there and we'll build that really quickly. I think I've got everything I need. I got requester chest. Yeah, we're good to go. So let's just quickly grab this. Do I have any fuel? Ooh. I don't have any fuel. I got rocket fuel. That'll work. Train, fuel, rocket fuel, go! And I hope I can turn right up here. I think I can. Sometimes I don't build the intersection the way it needs to go. In fact, I'm not sure if I can. Oh, I can. Perfect. And there we go. So we'll just whip up here real quickly, and then we'll just pull this guy. In fact, there we go. We're at the power station. Looks like we could use some more steam turbines. Looks like these ones over here aren't working. It looks like we got a bit of a problem going on in here. So let's just take a look at this. Just grab our, I got really big pockets. I can just shove a whole steam locomotive right in there. So why are you fine folks not getting any more steam? So that is not a good thing. What it means is we likely need, not sure a steam pump will do it, but we can try it. Let's give a steam pump a try and just see if we can pull a little bit extra. Let's do that, drop that on there, throw some power at it, see if that helps us. You gonna push that further? And over 4. Yeah, I just don't have enough kick. And can I build another steam pump? Nope, don't have any more engine units. Alright. So we've got a little bit of a problem here with our power plant design, and that's okay because all we really need to do with it is basically, I think what I'll do is I'll pull half of these off, stop mixing my steam, and I'll give them independent lines over to the steam and it should be fine. Got the same sort of problem going over here, only a part of it's getting its steam. And it's something I've been noticing in playing other games recently that if I try to build one long line for the steam, often it doesn't work the way I'd been hoping. So I will actually, let's just see if we can do it with this. Let's see if this will solve it. Does that bump me my steam over any further? It shouldn't, but it might. Let's just see what it does. Nope. That's okay. I'm okay with it. It's probably restricted. Well, we got 2 lines there. I'm not getting any steam out here though, so why is that? I mean water. Water. And let's get some water in here. Let's just do this real quick. And we'll grab one of those. There we go. Okay, so this hopefully will kick this side up a bit. And I'm missing something. What am I missing? You're hot, right? You're hot, right? 1,000 degrees. I've got water. I should be getting steam. What have Ha! I might have to go and do some maths, figure out what I've got missing here. I shouldn't be overloaded at this point. I might be, though. Alright, we're going to work on that later. What I want to do is go up and fix that, and we'll fix this up offline, I think. Have to do a little bit of figuring. Alright, let's just run up here and make sure that we're getting everything out of here that needs to, and cleaning this up a little bit. So, what do we got? I want to throw a little bit of logic on this, I think, because what we'll do is I'm going to assume that when this hits 3,000, I can just start sending stuff down just to a storage area. Alright, so we're just going to do that, and we'll grab a little bit of logic, and we'll say if you are greater than 3 grand. Funny thing is, I've built the railway line at the other end for weaponizing this, but I haven't done it yet, so it's just one of those getting round to it and just haven't got there yet. So we'll just send this down here for right now, and then eventually we'll pull off. Let's do something like that. And then we'll just drop a power line in there. Alright, so what do we got going on here? This should pull off this line. When this line gets clean, that line should feed in. And what do we got going on here? I just want to make sure that this line clears itself, and I think we're in good shape. Once this pulls off, we should start feeding all that through, and that should start this cleaning itself up. But how close are we getting to overfilling on the 238? Because I haven't been using it either. Yeah, we're getting close to backfilling the 238 as well. So I'm going to have to keep my eye on the 238 as well. It's looking like we've got a real bind going on. But we've definitely got, I mean, this centrifuging unit that we've built, it works like a charm, as you can see. We've got thousands and thousands of 235 now. We've got 3,000 there. We've got another 3 grand there. There's 6,000. And we haven't even been trying. I mean, one thing I did notice that this has run out. And why is that? Oh, it's because we can't run anymore. So we've got... Actually, that might be a problem. Oh, no, it isn't. I was just thinking if we had already backlogged that down to the power, we'd be in trouble as well. So that's looking good. So let's just flip back to map mode, and we're going to figure out our next steps. What we're going to do for next steps is I want to get ourselves a unit similar to this. It's working really well now. You can see it's starting to just really show. In fact, we're actually sending some copper through to the system. So let's just take a quick look and see how that's looking. Keeping our front of our buses full. Just barely though, like it's being used up, so that's good news. Mind you, it's managed to backlog our main copper processor, which I'm okay with. The secondary line, which is this scattered little line, is managing to get itself fed in there as well. So we're basically, the final output from this so far is we managed to back up these furnaces, which I'm okay with. I'd rather have this little furnace backlogged because these 2 copper fields right here are running dry. I can see my power is really starting to tax out here. So we got to fix that power problem before we do anything else. In fact, we're really starting to suffer here, so I'm going to have to get on top of that pretty quickly. And let's just see how the iron ore processing is working. Have we started pushing that through yet? No, we're not pushing it through yet. But what we will do is we will get the power fixed up. I think what we'll probably end up doing is I'm going to make sure I'm doing a proper count on this. Go off and do some figuring. Make sure that we've got enough steam being pushed through. So I might lose these tanks. It was something I tried for this one, and it's not working as well as I'd hoped. Not really getting the benefit I'd been hoping out of the tanks. So I might just run fresh steam lines up there and do the same on this side, because I'm just feeling like this isn't working as efficiently as it could be. So I'm just going to do a little bit of fixing there. We have these items pre-built. We built this way back in the day. We've got a bunch of materials sitting right here. We've got steam turbines. We've got 50 boilers, 100 steam turbines. In fact, we probably got 2 nuke plants. So we could actually go in. Is it 6 we need to go to, or are we at 6? I can't remember. We could go into 6 easily. So if we need the extra power, we'll just drop the 6 down and we'll just build this out. I might do that anyways because I noticed the power was starting to get a little weak. So we'll probably work on that while we're offline. We'll get the, like I said, we'll get the steam mill built up. The other thing I noticed when I was over here is this is still doing okay. We could probably start thinking about getting more of that. We've got this great big one here, so I might need to start thinking about getting a train in here. And maybe that's the other thing we'll work on, is getting our iron ore weaponized. And why are you guys not running? Weird. I got a train backlog I'm going to have to address as well. Something botching things up there. Oh, and this is going now. You can see the 238's flowing nicely. 235's getting out of the way. Where's the 238? It's all going, yeah, this is going to fill up really fast. Things are starting to look really good on that front. So once we can get those things done, what I want to do on the next video is I want to show where we are. We should be caught up by that point. We should have good power. Lines should be full here. Oh, we're still struggling a little bit here with the iron ore, I see. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. And then I want to get into building a great big green circuit factory. So if you think about how we're kind of modularizing this and we're kind of moving it away with trains, what I want to do is find a chunk of space, who knows where, maybe in this big area here, and build a massive facility for trains coming in, dropping off the copper and the iron ore, building some green circuits, and having a big train yard for coming in and pulling them off. Because as we know, these green circuits we use for all sorts of things, mainly though to get us into these reds and blues, and we want to kind of start setting ourselves up for that longer term. But right now, we've got these we have these red ones. We're actually using greens in here, so they're sort of hidden away, but we've got these green dedicateds. You see it's constantly running right now. These ones I think are staying pretty full, but they're running pretty well, so it'd be nice for us. In fact, actually, this looks like I can finish this one off. So we'll do a little bit of cleanup. I think we've got a few more things to do. I just kind of wanted to give you a quick update on where we were. I knew it had been a few hours just because of the number of rockets. In fact, we've launched a rocket while we've been on here. But I wanted to kind of give you an update of where we are because I don't want to get too far ahead. And the other thing I guess we noticed is we need some oil. So anybody see oil? Oil. Anybody? We'll go hunting for some oil. I'm not sure where we're going to find it, though. Probably somebody's already seeing it. They got the video, and they're like, it's right there, you blind old bat. I can't see any, so we're going to have to go hunting for some oil, maybe stick out a artillery train or two. And that's the other thing I'd like to start, show you how I'm going to automate this artillery train, and we'll work on that as well. So we'll cut this one down, and I thank you so much for watching. I'm Nerd Dad, and I am out.